All right. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. Yeah, look at what happened to China. They're they're having some issues. Probably because they're up against God. All right. So let's come on over here to our solar report. Here we are, February 29th. Happy Leap Day, everybody. It's not every day you get to say Happy Leap Day. It's not every year you get to say Happy Leap Day. Once every 4 years, do you get to announce to people Happy Leap Day. All right, here we go. So, February 29th, Happy Leap Day. We're all still here. All right. You can see our activity on the sun, this big blast right here with this little, it like comes out, stalls, and then kind of moves out. So, all right, you see that stall effect? Now what we're going to do is speed it up here because these slow motion events are captured better when they're faster. You see that? So this is something new that we haven't seen before. There was a similar event up here about 2 weeks ago, a lot like this, where plasma came way out here and then went back in. This doesn't seem to go back in this time. It comes out here, stalls, and then you can see a little object is kind of pops out, stops, gets a magnetic, like the hand grabs it and stops it, and then it slowly moves away. Pretty strange event. All right, now let's go ahead and slow this down to our regular speed, and let's catch the opening frame and go through this frame by frame real quick. Okay. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Thank you for taking a moment of your time to join our precious little family over here. All right, so opening frame, you can see we have this event underway already over here with something going on right in there. I don't know, it's like there's something there, but pretty faint. As we continue on, that event moves out. You see it kind of connect over here and make a halo type event a little bit. Looked like something was sneaking through up there. Here's this halo event a little bit right here, I think. And there's a little something there, it looks like. And then our main event off to the right here. Okay, it appears that our object's like right in here. It pops out to right about here and then stalls. I'm going to back up a couple of frames right. Oops. Zoom in on this one just a tad bit here. It's not really totally visible, but right here, right underneath this X, is our object right here. And it pops out and kind of stalls right here. And you see all this plasma come out and roil and spin around it. And then it finally tries to move on out. So while we got it zoomed in there, let me just go ahead and play this. Oh, thank you very much, Surfer Girl. Yeah, I'm dedicated, that's for sure. The Lord has got me dedicated, that's for sure. Sorry it's so late. I actually had an interesting thing happen before the show. Was interacting with my younger son, and we were cleaning up some stuff. We stumbled across the Hot Wheels and just kind of looking through them, reliving old memories, and found a track and pulled out the track and just felt like being kids again, when he was a little kid. And it was just nice to be with family and have fun for a little bit. And those moments are more precious than this report. So I'm sorry I had to spend time with my family for a few. Anyways, back to the report. So you see this object come out, kind of stall. You see all the roiling of the plasma around it. And it kind of slowly moves out right there. Let's see if we can pop it up again. So it stalls and then kind of creeps on out. All right, so there's that. Now, let me zoom back out. Yeah, so March is coming in like a lion. We got all kinds of crazy weather. We're expecting 4 to 6 feet, possibly 10 feet of snow where I'm at. I got plenty of gas. The snowblower's all ready to go, but we're preparing to be snowbound for a few days here where I'm at. So, all right, so here we go. You can see our graph. Here was our long duration M flare that we had yesterday. These little dropouts are the satellite eclipse and whatever data. Anyways, you can see today, as we came out of this, kind of smoothed out, leveled out a little bit. We had a little choppiness, but nothing too big, okay? Nothing worth really zooming in on. M flare potential 50, X 10%. Now, this new region, this new region 3590 that's coming up next. We just had 3595, the huge monster spot that's rotating out of view finally, or towards the limb at least. But we got a new monster on the horizon right here, and it's already beta gamma delta. So, that's the old one, sorry. This is the new one. 3595 is beta gamma. This will be our new player to watch out for. My bad. I got him backwards. Sorry. Anyways, let's move on here. Back to the KP here is unsettled. All right, we had a little absorption event. Nothing too bad. Only reached KP3, but any kind of absorption at this time does not help. Okay, so thank God it was only 3. It wasn't a big event. We don't need any more absorption. So coming over real quick, we'll check out auroras. Pretty much average for what we're used to seeing. Nothing yellow, so that's good. But that's still some energy that's hitting us. Okay, it's not a bunch. It's very, very low, but it is still some. Okay. Now let's back to this article. With AR 3590 getting closer towards the west limb, we take a look at what might be approaching in the east limb. Old AR 3576 and perhaps a small companion will begin to turn into view off the southeast limb by this upcoming weekend. based on the coronagraph imagery from the past 4 days, I only see one small CME potentially originating from that area, so it remains to be seen how many spots are visible. We will know more soon. Okay, so we got this new sunspot region that used to be old 3576 that's rotating into our coming around the limb at least. Below is the updated look for the AR 3590 on Wednesday, but we're on Friday, so it's closer to the limb than this image right here. We'll go ahead and open up the tracker. Oh yeah, let's pull this one up here. Okay, moving, away from us, but you see this little arch? Not going to clip us, I don't think. So thankfully, we don't need any more, really. So thankfully, that one's kind of aiming away, but what I do need to point out is it came off right here at this part of the sun where our magnetic field line, you see my little magnetic field line arches here. So it did come off the region where we're magnetically connected, but no CME at least. So that's good. Let's come on over here. We might get a little charge, a little electrical charge from that, but hopefully nothing too impactful as far as the CME. Here, this thing's still expecting a little bump around the third here as we change from the second to the third. Let me go ahead and just load up this because now I'm curious. Unless it's the same one as last night. Let's see if they've updated this one. There you go. Yeah, this is the same one going south of us, but still barely clipping us just a tad bit. Okay, not too bad, but it's better than getting a big old X flare right on the chin. So I'll take that over an X flare. So a little bit of energy coming in, nothing too much to worry about. It might cause a little burp down below, but all right, that's old too. That's from the 26th. All right, let's come on over to spaceweather.com now. Okay, here we go. Glancing below, the CME is coming, maybe. Should say maybe is coming. Anyways, NOAA forecasters say that a CME might graze Earth's magnetic field late on the 2nd. That's the one we were just looking at, probably on the 3rd a little bit. It was hurled into space yesterday, filament from 3592. All right, the impact could spark a minor G1. Okay, nothing too big, just a minor G1, so nothing too big. Here's this thing where they hit the asteroid again. We all kind of know what they're trying to do there. Anyways, let's move on. Let's get on over here to the Schumann. And we've had some activity here. All right, so actually, do we really need to? No, we don't really need to zoom in too much on that. You can see we're kind of back to a little scraping, a little impulse right here, but we came out of it okay. A little dimming right in there, but we're still going along. We actually started grinding a little bit, and it really excited the 7.83. So our magnetic field was pretty strong right there for a while, and then it tapered off, had some stuttering, got strong again, it's tapering off, and I think this is refreshed. Yeah, let me just try it again. See if we get any more data on the very end. So the very end right here, we just came out of a session and it's starting to kind of taper off and we're pumping along pretty good. So that's good news to report there on our Schumann for right now. You guys maybe felt a little excited today or something, maybe a little supercharged. Oh, maybe it could have been from that. All right, let's move on over here now to the Null School and tonight's thumbnail. We have a situation that is brewing here on the West Coast that is going to be dangerous. and life-threatening. All right, here we have you at the upper jet stream, and what I want to do is pull up our regular polar vortex and start off where we usually start. Now, you see our polar vortex is no longer, it's still organized, but it has this break in intensity here. See, it's looking more like a E, like a little small E with the little tail wrapping around. So the inflow is coming from way over here, going up in there. Now, the subvortex that was over America has turned into a conveyor belt now. Last night it wasn't, but now tonight it is. So you see it peeling off here, coming back across the United States. It goes all the way back over now to here and loops back up with the main vortex. So we have a big pinch, smash down vortex. This thing has moved like this way, smash the other vortex down into this conveyor belt type effect. All right, let me get it a little bit. There we go. Comes off, comes down, and loops back in again. So there's our conveyor belt finally kind of connected all back together again. And again, with this backward flow over the United States, okay, you see this blue barrier line here. There's a difference in flow going right across there. So there's a boundary line right here a little bit. Now, what I want to do is get you centered here on the West Coast and start dropping down. Here's your transition level, your transition level. You can see that that vortex has caused this buckling area right here, right? It forces stuff down and this way and keeps other stuff up. Then as we go into the upper jet stream here, now we got this cold air that's going up into the Gulf of Alaska, in between Russia and Alaska, diving down from the Pacific and coming right at California. Also got more moist air coming up from here, hitting the Baja area and stuff. Now, as we drop down to the lower jet stream, you see the correlation there. Most of the weather right now is coming down out of here and into California. Also the Pacific Northwest, too. See, it's reaching from Vancouver all the way to Southern California, right? So we have this big, huge storm that's coming in, and then another one behind it, this thing, and then another one behind it, this thing. We're going to have like a series of storms back to back to back to back. I think there's like 5 of them that they're saying are lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this setup is going to be very, very bad for the West Coast. There's going to be flooding. It's going to get ugly a little bit there. All right. Just fair warning. And then also this fetch coming up off the Gulf and coming up in here, when these storms come across, they pick up this moist air from this fetch and they slam together. The cold air, moist air slam together, and we're going to see an event here that's going to, well, everybody start praying, okay? It's getting serious now. We're in the month of March. March is notorious for being a very wicked month as far as weather. It comes in like a lion, and after spring has sprung, we exit March like a lamb. But here comes the lion, okay? And we got several storms in a row. The first storm, they're calling for 10 to 12 feet in the Sierras. They're closing down the highways. They're closing down the ski resorts. You can't even go up there. So don't even bother, because they're going to have to dig out, avalanche blast, all kinds of, grooming and packing the snow down if we get that much. So it's going to cause travel nightmares. And then another storm. And then another and another. So not looking good for the whole country, because as these come in, they go across the country. And in tonight's weather report, you're going to see something that's, well, could be disturbing. All right. Now, let's come on over to our particulates real quick. Pull up the sand. And yes, continuing sandstorm since November of 2023. We've had this ongoing sandstorm that's blowing sand across the Atlantic into South America. It's also causing sandstorms in other parts of the world. We've been reporting on this one here in the Gobi Desert, right? Now look at what's going on here in Saudi Arabia and Yemen, okay? This is a huge, huge wall of sand right there. Big old sandstorm hitting Yemen right now. China, Yemen, Africa, all three having sandstorms in the wintertime. Out of character for the planet. Something's wrong. Okay, so moving on now. Let's get over here to our SO2. Take the wind out of there. And we're going to look around at our pressure. We'll start off at a country divided. Oh, it's no longer the white line down the middle. It's this purple little streak. Anyways, I believe this is probably from the fire in Texas, might be. In fact, what we can do... Yeah, there's carbon monoxide, CO, and here's your plume from the Texas fire right there. Then we go to CO2, whoops, SO2, there we go, and it's picking up part of that plume. Anyway, country divided. As you can see, let me try to get this just a tad better. What happened here? I'm trying to get the real color, the true color, so it doesn't look darkened or anything, not lighter or darker than it actually is. All right, you can see China. This patch is still there. It's very organized. It's still a lot of pressure under this region, pushing out a lot of SO2. Gobi Desert doesn't have any because the ground's so packly tight. There's no perforations in it, or else there would be stuff coming out of there. And when it can't come out here, it's got to find the path of least resistance, which is on this side. So now this side is having massive emissions of SO2 for a while now. Europe still bleeding out. Here around Saudi Arabia and the Red Sea as well. Now let's go down to the island of Java. Sorry, I'm trying to... What's going on here? Okay. You can see it kind of lightened up a little bit here and there, but you got to remember this whole island is volcanic and there's volcanoes going off and even earthquakes around there in that area as well too. So, but our pressure looks to have lightened a little bit, at least there. This side of the world looks like it has more pressure than this side of the world. Why? Well, ask God. Now, this spot right here that I like to look at every once in a while, which is an indicator, is very defined. It stands out from way back here. It's not black yet, but it is a very dark purple. Okay, so pressure has increased kind of down here. So I'd still leave about 6.5 or 7 right now. It doesn't look like much of an increase. Okay. And then real quick, let's just cover this. I only do this every once in a while. Particulates. SO4 is a sulfate. It's sulfur with 4 oxygen atoms per molecule. So I like to call it sulfur quad oxide. That's not its real name, but it's a sulfate. This is produced by man and nature as well, but that's not what we're here for. We're here because this gas, SO4, likes to bond with water, which is H2O. When these two chemicals bond, they create a new compound called H2OSO4, better known as sulfuric acid. So all this is potential for sulfuric acid rain because it goes up into the atmosphere, it bonds with water, which is in our air, okay? And it gets caught up in these storms. And when these storms come across the ocean, look at this typhoon right over here that's winding up. It looks like it's about to hit Japan or something, but you see how it's pulled all this gas into it. This gas bonds with the water in the storm, and they get a sulfuric acid storm, a very high, acidic storm. The water has a pH level, a high pH level. So not only do we have particulates in the air from all the volcanic explosion and all the SO2, we also have this gas, SO4, that bonds with water and creates sulfuric acid. And we just take a little peek around the world, and it's all over the place. It's a runaway train. That kind of looks pretty at the bottom there, doesn't it? Almost looks like a psychedelic art or something. But you can see how it gets caught up in these currents and in the weather. And Antarctica was like the one place that didn't have any. It used to be just all black, but now you can see this gas has made it down to Antarctica now. So there's no safe place anywhere on the world now. It's made it all the way around the world. There's probably none right here at the moment because of the change in... this is over by the Gobi Desert, and it's not emitting a bunch. The weather changes in that region, keeps this little pocket clear, but it's still in the air there. It's just not as concentrated. Okay, so this gas has made it all the way around the world now. What next? Oh, yeah, I know. Also, we have CO2, okay? Your CO2 emissions, everybody's cow farts are killing us, right? So, first what I want to do is, you see this little graph, the dark area indicates hardly any, the blue, white in the middle, and going towards blue means more intense, okay? So I want you to take a little tour around the world with me of who produces CO2. I see some blue in there, don't you? I see some up in there, too. Okay. This is all jungle. So there's a lot of CO2 missing there because it's plant food and the plants are absorbing it. See the dark spot? That's the plants absorbing the CO2. There's hardly any there because the plants are absorbing it. That's what they're supposed to do. That's how this whole thing works. I guess everybody forgot how chemistry works or didn't pay attention in science class. See the jungle's down here. It's missing a bunch of CO2. Why is it so light in this area? Well, because the plants are eating it up. Now, let's take a look at America. See any blue around here? Do you see any blue on that map? Maybe because it's not us that produces all the CO2. It's these guys. If you want to do climate change, why don't you go directly to the source of the problem? Or do you have no courage to address it? No courage to address it, no courage to do anything about it, or you just sell out. Well, that's about to change. Okay, so a little truth bomb for you. Who produces all the CO2? Okay, it ain't us. We have emissions control devices on our stuff. So let that sink in. Okay, over here to our earthquakes. Maybe we should stop all the Chinese from farting, huh? Quit farting around over there in China. All right, here we go with our quake. Our deep region. Let's fire off with a 4.4 down at 597. Perfect. Mid-range 4. That's what we like to see right there. Out of there. Coming into the system with 4.4 energy at the surface. A little bit deeper, but 28. Not too bad. Nothing down this way, I don't think. Please. Yeah, nothing down that way. All right, so as we come up into the system, this part has been really quiet for a while. We did see a couple little quakes, but that wasn't much. It was only a couple in a long time. Now we have another one here, a 5.0. So there is some 5 energy at the surface. This one was a little deeper. So we got 5 energy at the surface, traveling along. It hits this place, 5.3 down at 35 right there. At the end of this little plate boundary, a 4.6 down at 32. We come over here to right off of Java, a 5.0 at the surface. There's your energy being released at the surface at a 5.0 magnitude. Textbook stuff. We see the deep mid-range 4 here. It puts 5 at the surface that go up through the system, right? Picks out little weak spots here and there. And here we go. 5 right there. Now let's come up here to Sumatra. This is right next to the volcano here, Marapi. And that's a 4.4 down at 117 right there. So we're having volcanoes and earthquakes here at Java, volcanoes and earthquakes here at Sumatra here. Now, up here in this little pit area, see this deep little pit area? We have a deeper quake. It's a 4.8 down at 472. So that's like 5 energy up at the surface. So there's your energy traveling along, equal to a 5 at the surface. It's a 0.8 down, 4.8 down at depth. Another 4.8 here at 35. Okay, all quiet through here. Now, here we go. This could be a problem here pretty soon. Here off of Japan, we've had a 5.1 and a 5.2. Both are like 20. This one at 23, the other one at 18. So a couple of 5s right here, right off the coast of Tokyo here. 4.5. All right. Now, you see where these 3 plates come together? These 3 boundaries come together. There's a plate right here. There's a plate right here. And then the third plate is this one going up that way, right? They all intersect right here. Let's kind of go in a little bit. You see this 3-way intersection just offshore? Not good. What's right next to it? A huge volcano, Mount Fuji. And then right next to it, this huge, just densely populated Tokyo, Japan, huge port and everything. There's so many people in this section right here, right outside our earthquakes. All right. So everybody in Japan, be on alert, especially here in Tokyo. All right. Now let's move on. Up here, now usually we see them along the plate boundary. Sometimes we do get them out in this little area, but it's in the pit. So this time it's out in the shelf area, and that's where we see deep ones. And here we have a 4.1 down at 479. Usually a deep quake causes another one at the surface, a stronger one possibly at the surface. But when they're deep in this shelf area and not in the pit, we don't see a secondary one. It's a deep quake all on its own. So here we have this rare deep quake all on its own with no backup. There's no other quakes around it, and it's not in the deep zones. When we have a deep one here, say we had this 4.1, but here we would see a 5 pop off right along here. But when it's back up in this shelf area, this shallower part, not down in this pit, they seem to not react. It's just all by itself. So I don't expect to see much come from this deeper quake right there. As it came over, though, it may have taken the energy and increased it a little bit. And now we have 5 energy working its way through this part of the system, right? See a bunch of flurry of quakes up here, but nothing big. It made it over and has come down here now to our Juan de Fuca. And what I want to do now is put this on all magnitudes. Oh, good, it is still on all magnitudes. All right, and let's take a peek at what's going on right here. You can see our plate boundary line. All right, you see this little trench in between the compression ridges underneath the water, this little trench that's running through there. And that's where these quakes right here popped off. 4.5, 3.5, 3.4, and 4.9. What do we do with 0.9s here? That's right. We have a 5 and a mid-range 4. Remember when I was telling you this 5 that went off over here the other day? It was at a 5.5. I said, watch out for anything from mid-range 4 to 5. And we've had a mid-range 4 and a 5. Right there. Also going into the, take this off there, please. Into the geysers area, we've had this still swarming going on here. A bunch of recent red quakes in red here. Okay, so this area, venting energy, distributing, releasing energy currently, right now. The rest of California, we had this one up here, 2.4. What was this up here? These are all smaller quakes. Just kind of keep them on there to track where they're happening. If there's a bunch of them on the San Andreas, that's one thing, but there's only a couple, and they're small. All right, now come on down here, please. Oh, just over here at Texas real quick. We all know what's going on over here, but just take a little peek. You can see we've had 3.3, couple of 1.5, so 2, a recent quake, 1.5 right here. So pressure is at the surface right now, causing quakes here in Texas, Southern California, Northern California, and out here at Hawaii too. All right, we got a current one offshore. It's only 2.6, but there has been a little flurry of quakes around here today because pressure's on the rise. It looks like it's kind of reaching the surface now. And we've seen a little flurry of quakes here around the volcano at Kilauea here. Also, we have a new quake right here. Oh, speaking of quakes. All right, this one real quick, 4.8, brand new off the coast of Yemen. All right, we have that sandstorm coming right here, and now they've had an earthquake right offshore, 4.8. Don't be surprised to see something catastrophic happen to that area here soon. We've also had up here at Italy, just real quick, 4.2, 263, and a 4.1 down here at Pakistan. All right. One last thing I want to talk about, the storm that's coming into the West Coast. Every once in a while, last time we had one of these atmospheric rivers, not last time, but a few times ago, we had that hurricane that came through, and an earthquake went off at the same time. We had the hurricane. Remember the hurricane? It was the earthquake during the hurricane that kind of crept up the coast here. With this powerful storm coming in, watch out for a quake. Could accompany it, as well as other kind of quakes from water settling on the land and going down through the perforations, You're going to see mudslides. You're going to see all kinds of loosening up of the ground. All right, with all the water, they've already been saturated, right? Already flooded. They're getting more and more and more. So you're going to start seeing, kind of, you might see some weather-induced quakes, as well as almost like that hurricane from the sheer pressure of the storm when it comes in with sheer force, putting all kinds of pressure on the globe. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but don't be surprised. And watch out. This storm that's coming in could have a quake accompany it. Sounds weird, but we've seen it before. Just like these storms have fires on the backside. It sounds weird. You think it's a storm, it's all water and rain, right? Well, not the backside of it. It's dry, and the wind whips around it and kicks up the flames. So, anyways, little 2.5 here in Illinois, a little bit of activity out here, just Tennessee, but little indications, movement going on under pressure in this area. Remember, we saw the pressure on this side of the country, and now it's having little quakes in that region. Fulcrum Point quake real quick here is at 4.2 down at 151. All right, we're done with the quakes. Let's get on over to, let's clear out some of these instruments first. Take out that one, take out that, and that, and that, and now volcanoes. All right. So already for March 1st, coming in like a lion, Marapi. We were just talking about Marapi. Explosive activity continues, 15,000 feet. Marapi is relatively new on the map. I mean, a couple months ago, it just popped onto the map, and we're like, oh, it's up in Sumatra. We've had Merapi, M-E-R, going off, Merapi for a long time, but then we had this new Marapi, and it's been on the list for, like the last month and a half or maybe 2 months or something now, but it's our relatively new volcano having blasts at 15,000 feet. This is the one on Sumatra, okay? So Dukono here, 8,000 foot blast. Santa Guido, it's usually a pretty high one. It doesn't have the altitude, but Santa Guido has some pretty high blasts. Fuego, 15,000 feet. Reventador, 15,000 feet. So we're having some pretty tall blasts. Now let's get into the 29th here. Suwanosejima, unknown OBS. Luatolo. This is on the Lesser Sunda Island. This is, I believe, it should be right by Java. Anyways, Luatolo, 6,000 feet. Now here's Semeru on the island of Java having a 14,000 foot blast. Explosive activity continues. Volcanic ash advisory warned a volcanic ash plume that rose up to an estimated 14,000 feet. Marapi, 15,000 feet. Dukono, 8,000 feet. Popocatépetl, 21,000. Here's Santa Guido, okay? Remember I told you it has some pretty high blast? 13,000 feet right there. Fuego, 15. Sabancaya, sporadic emissions. If you recognize 13 of these old classic cartoons, you're old. I probably recognize them all because I'm old. All right, no, we're not going to do the quiz. You guys can come over here and do the quiz on your own. So, a lot of volcano activity, very high blasts, okay? Continued volcanic or ash plumes in the atmosphere. That's more particulates for water droplets to cling to. You have just increased the volume potential that the air can hold by double, triple, 3 times. So now our air can hold more water like a sponge. It can absorb more water. And we had a sponge that could only hold a pint. Now we got a sponge that can hold 4 gallons. All right. And that's what's causing these bigger storms with heavier precipitation, deeper, snow, flooding, and just higher volume of water coming down. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start this. I got to take a second here. I'll let that loop play. I'm going to say a prayer for strength for you guys to endure this weather report. Lord, give them strength, give them courage, tolerance, and understanding, patience. Okay. You see that right there? That is not going to be good. All right, here, let me just get back to business. That was a little further out towards the end, okay? So we won't really dwell on that right now. No one's supposed to be dwelling on one day at a time anyways. But it is good to know the weather for the coming days so you don't get trapped in a bad situation. Current conditions, ongoing storm, just moving into the mountains of Sierra Nevada, starting to snow, a lot of water hitting the Pacific Northwest, snow down to the ocean level, it looks like they're pretty darn close to sea level. Current conditions at nighttime of the 29th. Now, good morning, March. Here comes March like a lion. We actually have severe snow, severe weather in the snow right there at Tahoe. The morning of March 1st. That's right over me. We're expecting quite a bit. Also severe weather down here sneaking up off the Gulf. All right, now as this storm moves through on March 1st, there's the noon, the afternoon, and then the nighttime. It gets very, very dark blue there, all right? We also have this thing whipping moisture off the Atlantic up into North Carolina, Tennessee area up there. So now we go into the morning of the 2nd, noontime, convection or the afternoon, nighttime, the morning of the 3rd. You see this big, huge low right here, center right here, but all these millibars, huge wind event, all right? There's going to be, blizzard up there in Canada. This low is a big low. That's the morning of the 3rd. As we get into the noontime, afternoon, there's big icing event up there. Still snow here in the mountains of California and rain up in Northern California. By the nighttime of the 3rd, going into the morning of the 4th, noontime, convection, nighttime. So from now until the nighttime of the 4th, California is just going to be under the gun the whole time. Especially Northern California, the Sierras. See, the whole time right there, it was just under the gun. Boom. All the way from the 1st through the 2nd through the 3rd. And now by the nighttime of the 4th, it finally moves out. You see this big thing arching up, pulling up moisture. We got severe weather by the nighttime of the 4th there. Going into the morning of the 5th. This is starting to pop up red now here in Mississippi. When I played this model, a lot of these storms all are convecting and congealing and coming together, organizing over Mississippi. If you have friends in Mississippi or family, you might want to warn them about this next coming week here, because starting here, the morning of March 5th, they have some really severe weather there. That's probably produce some tornadoes, okay? As we go from the morning into the noontime, the Gulf down here all in red. The Alabama-Mississippi border in red, okay? That's the noontime of the 5th. Convection right there. Nighttime of the 5th. Another storm coming into California, by the way, on the 5th, You notice that? Morning of the 6th, noontime, convection. You see these little pop-ups here, up in here. Don't let these just kind of slip by. They could possibly produce a quick spin up. Okay, so the convection of the 6th, nighttime of the 6th, morning of the 7th. Most of it clears offshore. Meanwhile, another system coming into the Pacific Northwest, the morning of the 7th, noon, convection, nighttime. You see all this moisture pulling up here. You see this low forming and pulling moisture up. Morning of the 8th. Now, here again, Mississippi-Alabama border. Severe weather again. A second round. Okay. The noontime, convection, nighttime of the 8th. Watch out here. If this spreads out and does this kind of effect, you might see some violent weather here in Virginia. Meanwhile, another storm here on the coast. You can see how it gets severe right offshore there. Heavy snow and an icing event right there for Long Island in New York City. That'd be interesting to see. A big old icing event, a severe icing event right there, actually, because there's severe weather touching right next to the icing event. So you're talking a severe icing event, severe snow, too, up in New York on March 9th. That'll be the convection of the 9th. The nighttime, we still got the storm over here. The morning of the 10th, severe weather in this storm. You see this all of Northern California coast, all the way from the Bay Area up past Oregon border. Severe right there, noon the 10th. That'll be the convection the 10th, nighttime, the morning of the 11th. Noon, convection, another round up here for the Pacific Northwest. Nighttime the 11th, morning of the 12th. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 13th. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 14th. You see those things spinning up? It hasn't connected the tail, but you could see a tail forming there. And at the end of this tail here, I pray that this doesn't happen, but we're just going to cover it a little bit in case it does. This is the noontime of the 14th. Now, you see severe weather coming up here and a pop-up here. We're starting to get this quasi-linear storm front here. This right here is what I would not like to see, because you have two linear fronts. See how it's split into two? These ones out front will be severe. They will pop up in front of the main line. Over Mississippi again. Notice it's Mississippi again. And this next frame, okay, guys, time to take this seriously here in Mississippi. This is a little ways out. Let me pull back out, give you a timestamp real quick. This is March 14th, the nighttime of the 14th. We're talking a nocturnal event going from quasi-linear, a double quasi-linear storm front, merging together into one thing at night over Mississippi. And then by the morning, kind of dissipating. You see snow back here down in New Mexico, Panhandle of Texas. That'll be the morning of the 15th. Then that would be at noon. Then by convection the 15th, again, another red blossom here, right over Mississippi and Alabama on the 15th. That's the nighttime. There's the morning, and now this is the morning of March 16th, way out there on the thing. But look at this tight low. And actually, I haven't seen this in a long time. I don't know if it'll pick it up. In the middle of this red is purple. Rarely do we see yellow. I mean, we see yellow, but rarely do we see red. And then very, very rarely do we see a little purple in there. Okay. You're probably not picking it up very well. You can come over to this instrument and check it out. That is going to be another severe storm right there. That whole yellow pocket right there, hitting Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and that is in the time frame. That event right there is in the morning hours of the 16th. So that could catch people off guard. That's why I'm doing it, just in case. I'd rather have it way out in advance and keep watching it than not knowing at all. Now by noon, look at this. Look how this thing, there's the nighttime, the morning, by noon, look how it strengthens, organizes, comes together. And then at convection, you see it split. We have a linear front here. We have pop-ups up here. We have another linear right here. We have severe in the core, severe snow, icing. This sucker right here could cause some headaches, all right? And thankfully, it shears apart like that. See how it kind of comes together, starts to organize, but then shears apart down the middle here. It's way out there, but it's something to watch, okay? Meantime, watch your pop-up thunderstorms in this region, and everybody over on the West Coast, just prepare for lots of water. You have a little break right there in between storms. Use it. Use those breaks to get to the store, restock supplies, do cleanup, management, debris management, whatever you got to do to prepare for the next round and round after that and after that and round after round after round. So, West Coast getting it first. A few days in a row and then round after round. Then all of a sudden here in the Midwest or in the middle part of the country, you get these severe pop-ups coming up here. And those are no joke. We're going to have to watch them carefully. The closer we get to them, the more accurate it'll be. And let's pray that we don't have anything popping off the sun heading our way that would increase any of these more than they're already projected to be. Because these projections are without any kind of added energy, into the equation. All right, so there's that. Whew. Okay, now for the spiritual report. You guys waited long enough. You're so patient. And at least we got some important stuff that we cover before the spiritual report, so it's not too agonizing of a wait. And it's important to warn people in Mississippi. Just watch Mississippi for a minute. This Mississippi-Alabama line, this region right here. Boom, right there. Again, right here. Then again, coming up right there. All right, so everybody in that region, prepare too. We're talking tornadoes, big hail, lots of water, flash flooding. It's even fires. The backside of some of these lows has dry air. The wind is what drives the fire. All it takes is one spark. Any kind of ignition, it's not the storm's fault. It just has a bunch of wind. The wind is what's driving those fires. If there hadn't been an initiation spark or anything, probably wouldn't have seen them. But all it takes is one, like I said, one ignition, and the winds on the backside kick it up and just spread it. It's the winds that spread the fire. And you see these big storms, tight millibars, high winds. So, therefore, any embers that were around that haven't got put out, wind kicks them up, takes them a few miles to a spot that hasn't been burnt yet, and it's on. So, very important that we stay alert of what's going on Also, pray for the people here in California. It's going to be a nightmare. I'll probably be pretty sore after shoveling and snow blowing and more and rescuing people. So I'm preparing for a long week, and everybody else should too, depending on what region you live in. Okay, enough of that. Now let's get on over to what happened to my. Oh, well, we'll just have to do it here. And you see China getting tons of water too. So expect to see scenes like that in California again with the water. Where's this one? This, when sewer systems get over flooded and they can't drain, then it comes up from the manholes and shoots up out of the ground and floods the streets. So you'll probably be seeing this effect a lot as well. Okay, let's go do our reading. And I think we'll do it to this one tonight. That'll be me restoring the power to everybody. Okay, let's just get this video real quick while I get ready for the reading. Welcome back. So I know there's a lot of activity going on the sun, but I really don't feel like reporting on that stuff right now. Actually, I want to go back and revisit an event that happened earlier this year, 2020, around Easter, when I captured what appears to be Jesus in the clouds here. So I need you to tilt your head to the right about 45 degrees, and here's an eye, his other eye, his nose, his mouth, his chin and beard, his hair flowing back like this, and you can make out a crown up here above his head. That crown is hovering over his head. There seems to be almost a little halo around his head too. And once you see that image, then we can zoom. We're not going to zoom in. That's probably pretty good right there. Why is that not? There we go. All right, get a good crystal clear view of our Savior there, showing up in the clouds as promised 2,000 years ago, showing up on Easter of all days. That should scream volumes, huh? Happened on Easter and turned into a lion's head. Let's just go ahead and play that. A bit tighter. There you go. Tilt your head to the right. And this event happened over a course of about an hour, and I got a lot of pictures of it where you can see that this face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with the nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Like a lion face, right? March coming in like a lion. Maybe we'll do read to that one. Nah, I like the other one better. Right there. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Tilt your head to the right. Yeah. Everybody here that's left here, yeah, can see it. Good. We're down to the few, the most important ones. Okay, get my light set up, and we got some reading for you. So everybody grab your coffee, your hot chocolate, whatever refreshment, your blanket, your cat, whatever it is you like to do. Some of you that are watching this after, when it's not live, you're watching the replay in your car. So kick back in your car. We're all going to take a couple of deep breaths here. Okay, everybody? So nice long deep breath all the way in through your nose. Hold it for a couple of seconds and exhale nice and slow. So one more time. Okay. It's important that you're relaxed when we do these readings. Therefore, your ears are open a little better to hear. Your eyes are open a little better to see. So, when something in your life or thoughts makes you anxious, come to me and talk about it. Bring me your prayer and petition with thanksgiving, saying, "Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to trust you more." Though the lessons of trust that I send to you come wrapped in difficulties, the benefits far outweigh the cost. I'll repeat. Though the lessons of trust that I send to you come wrapped in difficulties, the benefits far outweigh the cost. Well-developed trust will bring you many blessings, not the least of which is my peace. I have promised to keep you in perfect peace to the extent that you trust in me. The world has it backwards, teaching that peace is the result of having enough money, possessions, insurance, or security systems. My peace, however, is such an all-encompassing gift that it is independent of all circumstances. Though you lose everything else, if you gain my peace, you are rich indeed. Aren't you? Yeah. I am the resurrection and the life. All lasting life emanates from me. People search for life in many wrong ways, chasing after fleeting pleasures, accumulating possessions and wealth, trying to deny the inevitable effects of aging. Meanwhile, I freely offer abundant life to everyone who turns towards me. As you come to me and take my yoke upon you, I fill you with my very life. This is how I choose to live in the world and accomplish my purposes. This is also how I bless you with joy unspeakable and full of glory. The joy is mine and the glory is mine, but I bestow them on you as you live in my presence, inviting me to live fully in you. Pretty cool, huh? I'll do that again. This is also how I bless you with joy unspeakable and full of glory. The joy is mine and the glory is mine, but I bestow them on you as you live in my presence, inviting me to live fully in you. Yep, you guys are feeling it. All right. Good. Finally. I love you for who you are, not for what you do. I repeat, listen, hear me, please hear me. I love you for who you are, not for what you do. Many voices vie for control of your mind, especially when you sit in silence. You must learn to discern what is my voice and what is not. Ask my spirit to give you this discernment. Many of my children run around in circles trying to obey the various voices directing their lives. This results in fragmented, frustrating patterns of living. Do not fall into this trap. Walk closely with me each moment, listening for my directives and enjoying my companionship. Refuse to let other voices tie you up in knots. My sheep know my voice and follow me wherever I lead. So refuse to worry. In this world, there will always be something enticing you to worry. That is the nature of a fallen, fractured planet. Things are not as they should be. So the temptation to be anxious is constantly with you, trying to worm its way into your mind. The best defense is continual communication with me, richly seasoned with thanksgiving. Awareness of my presence fills your mind with light and peace, leaving no room for fear. This awareness lifts you up above your circumstances, enabling you to see problems from my perspective. So live close to me. Together, we can keep the wolves of worry at bay. Okay, got more. I give you joy in your journey through this world. This sparkling gift is not a luxury, it's a necessity. There are bumps in the road ahead, as well as sharp curves, ascents, and descents. Without joy in your heart, you will become weary and discouraged. Joy is not dependent on the circumstances in your life. It can transcend them all. This is why impoverished people are often more joyful than those who have material wealth. Sick and even dying people can also be joyful when they're trusting in me as Savior, Lord, and friend. Seek to spread joy in the world around you. Let my light reflect from your demeanor through your smiles, your laughter, and your words. The Holy Spirit will equip you to do this as you give Him space in your life. Ask Him to fill you with contagious delight. Ask Him to fill you with contagious delight. Concentrate on staying close to me, and I will lead you along the path of life. In my presence, there is fullness of joy. In my presence. You guys enjoying this or what? Pretty cool. Almost impossible, but nothing's impossible with me. My paths are beyond tracing out. Come to me with humility in your heart, bowing before my infinite intelligence. Relinquish your demand to understand and just accept the fact that many things are simply beyond your comprehension. Because I am infinite and you are finite, the limitations of your mind make it impossible for you to understand much of what happens in your life and in the world. So it is vital to make room for mystery in your worldview. I repeat, it's vital to make room for mystery in your worldview. You are privileged to know many things that were formerly mysteries, things that had been kept hidden for ages and generations. The New Testament is full of revelations that came through my incarnation, life, death, and resurrection. You are immeasurably blessed to have this priceless knowledge. I repeat, you are immeasurably blessed to have this priceless knowledge. Imagine if this made headlines around the world. Yeah, that'll never happen. Actually, it does. So, coming soon to a theater near you. Okay, now back to this. Everybody, hear me, please, and listen. My love chases after you every day of your life. So look for signs of my tender presence as you go through each day. I disclose myself to you in a vast variety of ways. Words of scripture just when you need them, helpful words spoken through other people, which you call coincidences, are all orchestrated by my spirit, nature's beauty, and so on. My love for you is not passive. It actively chases after you and leaps into your life. Leap day? Invite me to open the eyes of your heart so you can see me blessing you in a myriad of ways, both small and great. Well, that's shining on my screen in the background. Oh, it's because of that light. Sorry. Keep seeing something yellow on the screen. Now I realized. All right, back to focus here. I want you to not only to receive my bountiful blessings, but to take careful note of them, treasuring them and pondering them in your heart. Thank me for these ways I show up in your life. Write some of them down so you can enjoy them again and again. These signs of my presence strengthen you and prepare you for difficulties on the road ahead. I'm going to repeat this one again. You guys know this, but I'm repeating this again. These signs of my presence strengthen you and prepare you for difficulties on the road ahead. Remember that nothing in all creation can separate you from my love. Blessed are all those who wait for me. Waiting patiently does not come easily to you, but it is nonetheless very good for you. You long to plan ahead, make definitive decisions, and make things happen. There is a time for that, but this is not the time. Now is a time for sitting in my presence, trusting me with your whole being, and feeling my love. This discipline will bring a wealth of blessings your way. Some of the good things I offer you reside in the future. While you obediently wait on me, you are building up equity for those not yet blessings. Because they are veiled in the mystery of the future, you cannot see them clearly. Other blessings are for the present. Other blessings are for the present. The very process of waiting for me is beneficial. It keeps your soul on tiptoe as you look up to me in hope. You acknowledge that I am in control and you rest in my goodness. Though you may not understand why you have to wait so long, I bless you as you choose to trust me with all of your heart. Okay, so I think that was it for tonight. These signs of my presence should strengthen you. They should prepare you for the difficulties on the road ahead. This is your foundation. I keep showing you this image. It's the real event. It's so important that you guys understand me and trust me that this is a real event. It really took place. Everything on my channel that I've shown you are all real events that have taken place. If you trust me, something miraculous happens. All of a sudden, you know you're going to be okay. You hear my voice. I'm your friend. I'm your father. I love you. I miss you. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. My sheep know my voice. And they see me in the clouds coming. That's it for tonight. I love you all. God bless you all. And until my next show, I will be back because I'm already back. Love you all.